Welcome back to Morning in America. This morning, of course, crime is a major concern around the country, and that includes Minneapolis, Minnesota. Over the past year, police there report burglaries are up 6%, thefts are up 31%. 31%. Carjackings are up about 14%. Some residents decided they were going to band together to keep their neighborhoods safer. They're hiring police officers through an initiative the city council passed in January. It's a contractual agreement between a nonprofit and the city to hire off-duty police officers to work extra hours and patrols. Residents actually end up donating $220 a month for a minimum of 6 months to cover the cost. But not everybody is a fan of this. Let's bring in AJ Awed, the executive director of the Cedar Riverside Community Council. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
AJ, I have to get one thing out there. You know, after campaigns to defund the police, the outrage over the killing of George Floyd, I've seen multiple reports I've been watching over the past couple of years, and it seems as though everyone, no matter where you live, no matter what your background is, no matter what color your skin is, want more police, not less.
Well, that is 100% the case. I think especially in a city which triggered the racial reckoning throughout this country and has really highlighted some of the underlying issues with policing. At the end of the day, everybody wants to feel safe, and safety is a priority for all communities. And we need more officers. Unfortunately, the policy that this has created and the opening for this has really pit neighborhoods against each other. Unfortunately, the poorer neighborhoods have to find creative ways to do that, especially when those neighborhoods, the more diverse neighborhoods, are the ones that are seeing the most increase in violence and shootings in the city.
I think a lot of people would say that this story is surprising, that there's such a concern about not feeling safe anymore, that people have to pay out of pocket for their own extra patrols at a cost of $107 an hour. Do you feel less safe where you are, where you live?
Unfortunately, I'm in one of those neighborhoods that does get that extra patrolling. I believe that this patrolling should actually be used in ways that actually affects the most deeply affected neighborhoods. Unfortunately, this policy is really creating a second, wave of, I would say, modern day redlining. Unfortunately, money is the object here. And the policy, again, itself is not a policy that's created for this. This is supposed to be typically is engaged for sports venues when there are, special events that are happening in the city, whether it's in a neighborhood association that's doing a block party, something of that sort. But when we have a decrease in officers, when there's a mandate that we need to have 731 officers in the city and we only have about 564, and we're seeing a rise in crime and violent crime and shootings in predominantly Black and brown neighborhoods, I think that this type of policy doesn't really help the ones that are underlying affected. Again, one of the reasons why there was a triggering and a racial reckoning in the city, because unfortunately many Black and brown people feel as if the institution of policing does not prioritize Black and brown bodies. And I think this coming together would have been better used, I would say, and I would have loved to see some of our neighbors in more affluent, wealthy neighborhoods really coming together and not making it about peripheral issues, but really making it about the central issues. And unfortunately, there are kids dying on the north side of Minneapolis. I don't see those type of initiatives trying to really help those areas. And unfortunately, I see people doubling down and really just focusing on their privileges. And to me, policies from a leadership perspective, the mayor and the city council should be looking at alternatives. And in fact, if they're going to have neighbors come together to help the community at large. I think it's fair to say that, the more affluent neighborhoods that we're talking about are predominantly white. So again, this is a segregation issue to a certain extent, where we're just dividing the city that should be coming together and healing after the racial reckoning of the murder of George Floyd that triggered that racial reckoning in the city and the uprise. But unfortunately, it seems as if the leadership in the city is really just listening to one side and segment of the population and prioritizing their interests.
AJ Awed, thank you very much for being with us on Morning in America.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.